All right, gather round, everyone. Welcome to today's explainer. So today we're traveling deep into the dense, misty mangroves of the Sundarbans for a truly chilling piece of folklore that's been whispered around campfires for generations. We're looking at a story that perfectly blends pure, heart-pounding survival horror with some incredibly deep-rooted cultural faith. It's the kind of tale that will definitely make you think twice about stepping into the dark woods at night. So get comfortable, maybe keep the lights on, and let's uncover the terrifying legend of the Beg Ho Boot.
I want you to put yourself in this impossible situation for a second. Imagine you're a fisherman in the tiny, isolated Kachuri village. Your entire livelihood, everything you have, depends on the river and the forest. But nature has suddenly turned against you. What do you do when providing for your family means crossing a line into a territory where you're no longer the apex predator, but the prey? It's a massive life-or-death gamble. Let's see exactly how this desperate reality sets the stage for a total nightmare. Okay, let's dive into this desperate situation. Section 1, a village on the brink, desperate measures. The Kachuri village is literally on the brink here. I mean, heavy rains have kept everyone off the water for 3 straight days. And the village head, the Mukhia, has just received some incredibly grim news. A massive 5-day storm is hitting tomorrow. If they don't get food tonight, the village is going to starve before the storm even passes. This is the ultimate ticking clock. So facing this impossible pressure, 2 brave friends, Ramesh and Sham, make a fateful decision. Against all common sense, they decide to take their small boat out into the dark, rainy night to catch fish. Sham's mother, Amma, is absolutely terrified. Before they leave, she desperately prays to the forest goddess Bon Bibi to protect them.
Moving on to Section 2, the ill-fated fishing trip, Descent into Darkness.
Follow this timeline with me, because it shows exactly how fast a bad situation can spiral into utter terror. Ramesh and Sham start out in light rain, pulling in a pretty decent catch. But the current is strong, and in the pitch black, they don't even realize they're drifting miles away from the safety of their village. And then suddenly, the oil in their single lantern runs completely dry. Total blackout. They're freezing, their bodies are completely stiff from the cold rain, and then the terrifying realization hits them. They've drifted right into deep tiger territory. Just as they manage to spot a faint, flickering light in the distance and pull their boat onto a muddy swamp shore, they hear it, a low, guttural roar coming from the dark. Now, to really understand what they've just walked into, we have to look at the local lore. Back in the village, as hours pass and the boys don't return, an elder named Satu Kaka brings up a name that strikes absolute fear into everyone's hearts: the Beg Ho Boot. This isn't just a normal tiger, okay? It's a demonic, shape-shifting entity that's half human and half tiger. Satu Kaka chillingly reminds the villagers of past victims, like Haraya and Charan, who were literally torn apart by this beast. And the most insidious thing about the Beg Ho Boot, it doesn't just hunt, it uses psychological warfare. It actually mimics the voices and faces of your loved ones to lure you into the shadows. All right, picking up the pace here, Section 3, the search and rescue. Brave friends. So the crucial point here is that 3 brave youths from the village, Suraj, Raghu, and Jagat, they just refuse to wait for morning. They grab torches and head out into literally the most dangerous conditions possible, an Amavasya, or new moon night, which means absolute suffocating darkness. They navigate the treacherous waters until they spot something on the shoreline. It's Sham's boat, and it's completely overturned. All around it, they find torn clothes and scattered fish. The dread really starts to sink in right about here. And in a desperate bid to find their friends, they make a classic fatal mistake. The fog rolls in, and they split up. Okay, I want you to imagine being Raghu right now. You're walking alone in waist-high fog. You literally can't even see your own feet. And then, this hits you. A foul, overpowering stench of rotting fish suddenly fills the thick air, making it incredibly hard to breathe. It doesn't make any sense, right? Why would there be rotting fish this deep into the jungle? Your heart is pounding. You just know something is terribly wrong. You absolutely freeze. The hairs on the back of your neck stand straight up. Because right there, piercing through the gray, suffocating mist, are 2 glowing, unnatural yellow eyes staring dead at you. It's the sheer, paralyzing panic of knowing you're being hunted in a place where you have absolutely nowhere to run. Now we hit the horrific twist. Section 4. Unmasking the Beg Ho Boot, a terrifying trap. Suraj and Raghu manage to regroup just as someone steps out from behind a tree. It's Sham. A massive wave of relief just washes over them. But as Suraj runs toward his friend, Raghu notices something deeply, deeply unsettling. As Sham steps into the torchlight, he turns and smiles. But that smile isn't human. His teeth are long, sharp fangs, and his eyes are glowing with a sickly, yellow light. Before they can even process the horror of it, the nightmare just unfolds right in front of them. Sham's face violently jerks and actually morphs into the terrifying visage of a tiger. His hands stretch and crack, turning into massive, deadly paws equipped with razor-sharp claws. His entire body is slick with foul, squelching swamp mud. And then a bone-chilling roar shatters the quiet jungle. The Baho boot has them. Suraj tries to run, but with one massive swipe of its claw, the beast strikes him down instantly. Raghu flees in sheer terror, but elsewhere in the jungle, the third rescuer, Jagat, is still searching. Suddenly, Jagat hears this exact quote echoing from the darkness. It's Ramesh's voice. Jagat runs toward the voice, completely convinced he's found the other missing friend. But remember the lore, the demon mimics loved ones. Raghu tries to scream a warning to Jagat, but it's way too late. The moment Jagat gets close to Ramesh, those eyes flash yellow. The creature transforms into its horrific half-tiger state and lunges. The demon brutally takes Jagat, leaving Raghu as the only survivor left out there in the jungle. Which brings us to a glimmer of hope. Section 5, The Power of Bon Bibi, Divine Intervention. Raghu reaches the water's edge, but the fog thickens, and those yellow eyes appear right in front of him again. He's completely cornered. He closes his eyes, bracing for death, shielding his face with his hands. But the strike never comes. Instead, the demon roars in sudden agony and actually backs away. Raghu opens his eyes and looks down at his hands. Tied to his wrist is the Bon Bibi Tawiz. Remember Sham's mother, Amma, from the very beginning? Right before Raghu left the village to join the rescue, she tied this sacred talisman around his wrist. The beast is physically repulsed by the divine energy of the goddess. This brilliantly illustrates the central theme of Sundarbans folklore. Just look at this stark contrast. On one side, you have the Bigobut, which represents the absolute, uncontrollable terror of the wild, deceptive, evil, and driven by a demonic hunger. But on the other side, standing as an unshakable bulwark against that chaos, is the goddess Bon Bibi. She represents divine protection, the power of absolute faith, and acts as the ancestral guardian of the forest dwellers. It's literally a battle between the darkest evils of nature and the purest light of human faith. So, seeing the monster cower, Raghu realizes exactly what he has to do. He grabs a fallen torch from the mud. In a moment of just incredible bravery, he rips the sacred talisman from his wrist, wraps it tightly around the burning wood, and hurls it straight at the Bego-boot. The talisman strikes true. The demon's ferocious roars instantly turn into piercing, agonizing screams. The holy fire completely engulfs the creature, burning the demonic entity to ashes right before Raghu's eyes. Finally, let's look at the aftermath. Section 6, Faith in the Forest, a Miraculous Survival. When Raghu returns and recounts the horror of the Bego-boot and the undeniable power of the talisman, it leaves a permanent mark on the village. This quote beautifully summarizes what you should really take away from all this. It's not just some ghost story meant to scare children, it is a foundational belief system for these people. The forest is undeniably dangerous. It houses real predators and, depending on what you believe, supernatural horrors. But the overarching message here is one of balance. To this very day, people entering the Sundarbans will not step foot into the dense mangroves without first bowing their heads and praying to Bon Bibi for protection. Faith is for sure their truest armor. So, after hearing the harrowing tale of Kachuri Village, I want to leave you with this final thought. We rely so heavily on technology and logic today, right? But imagine yourself stripped of all of that, standing completely alone in the pitch black of an ancient forest. If the fog rolled in, the smell of the swamp filled your lungs, and you suddenly saw two glowing yellow eyes staring back at you from the dark, what would you actually do? Would you trust your eyes, or would you pray? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey into the unknown today. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.